Hello again, and sorry, first of all, I want to say sorry for the delay in doing a new podcast. But life just kind of got hectic, and finding the time to sit down and even do a quick little podcast was quite the challenge for me. It's the whole return to the new normal. Work has me back out peopling again, which is great. I missed seeing people, even the people that drove me nuts. I'm grateful so far in my return to the new normal that all the folks that I've have to deal with, even those that I don't like dealing with, have come through all of this wonderful pandemic so far, alive and well. So that is kind of the silver lining to the busyness. Anyway, kind of getting down to the business or brass tacks of it all. Today I wanted to talk about five common problems that I see happen with DS relationships. Oftentimes, you see them with people who are new, which is understandable, but even veterans like myself can easily make these mistakes. So, the first one I want to chat about is we often struggle sometimes to separate fantasy and reality, or reality interjects into a fantasy and it just kind of blows it all to heck. Um, Fantasies are wonderful. Everyone, I think, should have fantasies, have things they dream of, things they want to try, what's next. If not, it just feels like that person is stuck in a rut. They're just kind of doing the same things, going and doing the same things over and over. So I think it's always good to be looking for what's next, developing new ideas and new fantasies, new things to try, new experiences. The problem is a lot of times when we dream up or concoct something like that in our mind, the reality of making it all happen or how it all happens is often very different than what we've put together in our head beforehand. So there's often a disconnect between what our mind envisions things will be and how they actually turn out, in real life. So I think that we need to, while it's good and we need to be doing it, developing new thoughts, new ideas, fantasies, anything and everything looking forward to the future, we also have to keep in mind that reality will, at some point, rear its ugly head and somehow change things around. So it may not be exactly what we've envisioned. So I think it's very important to keep an open mind to our open minded fantasies because they're not possibly going to go just exactly how we envisioned them before they happen. The other thing that I see happen in new DS relationships is that people can become overwhelmed. Um, Typically, it kind of reminds me of a kid in a candy store. Either they go into the candy store and they have an unlimited budget and just go on a binge. And, well, I can only speak for myself. I have a sweet tooth, and occasionally I have binged on chocolate and peanut butter. For me, those Reese's peanut butter and chocolate eggs around Easter are incredibly dangerous for me. In fact, the one day I really try to avoid shopping is the Monday after Easter when those Reese's eggs are marked down because I will buy too many and eat too much, which of course leads to not feeling good after that happens. And the same thing can happen, especially when somebody is new to the lifestyle, is they're the kid in the candy store with the unlimited budget and they just binge on everything and are really left feeling not so good afterwards because it's been an overwhelming experience. And the other way sometimes people can get overwhelmed is that same candy store mentality, but there's just so many choices that knowing what to pick becomes just overwhelming. So you can't even make one decision, and it just forces people to shut down. And I've seen it with people who are new, especially. There are things that they never even dreamed of, thought of, and there's so much more to the lifestyle than they dreamed of and thought of, that it just boggles their mind. And it's not a bad thing, but it forces them to shut down. And in some cases, that shutdown leads them to stepping back or away from the lifestyle. So I think it's very important to just be healthy and smart about how we approach things in the lifestyle. Try to avoid binging on the things that we find that we really enjoy, and also know that there's so much more there than what meets the eye, and not allow ourselves to be overwhelmed, and kind of just focus on one or two things at a time, especially when we're new, rather than just trying to take it all in, feeling overwhelmed, and then basically being forced to shut down because there's just too many choices. So the overwhelming factor is something that can happen, and it can happen to the best of us. I've seen it happen even with experienced veterans who they finally find that amazing partner and all the things they wanted to try and do but never had the right partner, and then suddenly they're overwhelmed and are shutting down or overdoing and dealing with the after effects of overdoing it. So it's very important to keep pace, no matter whether you're dominant or submissive. I think it's important just to kind of keep your head on your shoulders, and keep from binging or getting yourself overwhelmed with things that are happening in the lifestyle. The other thing that happens in the lifestyle is people develop issues with their confidence. Um, Oftentimes, on the D side of things, you will see the overconfident dominant. And these people, they know it all. They don't feel the need to learn because they know. And overconfidence leads to mistakes, because what you don't know can hurt you or hurt others. So it's very important to temper the feeling, especially among veterans, that they know it all, because there's always new ways, there's always new tricks. Even if you're an old dog like me, you can learn new ways and new things. In fact, I do every day. In fact, that's one of the greatest things about interacting with people who are newer to the lifestyle, is they come in with a lot of new ideas and thoughts, and it's a great way for me to learn new things. Now, on the flip side of the overconfidence, is lacking confidence. And everyone can go through a period of time where our confidence gets shot up. It doesn't matter the side of the slash you're on, dominant, submissive, a switch, or somewhere in between. We all have things that happen in life that affects our confidence level. And so when we have low confidence, the typical reaction is people fear making mistakes. And the more you fear making mistakes, the more it leads you to make them, because you're trying so hard not to make them that it just leads you to make mistakes. So I think it's important to try and balance your confidence level so that you understand that we all need to keep learning. Even if you've been around for years, there's still new things. Every day there's something new. Every day there's a new nugget to be learned. And to never dismiss somebody who is new as not being a place that you can learn something from. That's a little pet peeve of mine. So many people blast the newbies, and yet these people often have so much they can teach the veterans rather than just going to the veterans to learn from. So I think balancing confidence is something that really needs to happen. And as a note for submissives, the overconfident dominant is somebody to, in a way, be feared, because their overconfidence leads them to believe they know it all. And when you think that way and you engage in lifestyle play with them, it can lead to a submissive being hurt because the dominant doesn't know what they're doing but believes that they do. And many of the fun things that happen in the lifestyle can hurt somebody if they're not done right. So I think it's very important to keep our confidence balanced, and at the same time look to avoid the individual that is very overconfident. Confidence is sexy, cockiness is not, and cockiness in this lifestyle can get you hurt. The other thing that I see in the lifestyle that happens a lot of times is communication can be hard between people. Once again, especially if you're new, it can be very hard to have some of the adult and intimate conversations that need to happen with a partner or with a potential play partner in the lifestyle. These are very intimate, often very sexual things. Some people can freely talk about them, and yet for other people, it can be very hard. And the only question you don't ask, or yeah, I totally goofed that up. The only bad question is the one that you don't ask. So I think it's important, especially when you're getting to know somebody new, maybe put a pen and paper on your nightstand. So when you have those questions that hit you in 3 in the morning, you can quickly jot them down so you don't forget them. And the next morning, when you're talking to your new partner or potential partner, you have these questions to talk to them about. Um, and the other thing where communication can be a real challenge is the first time as you're building a partnership and things are going well and lifestyle play is starting to happen. It can seem very much not sexy, not fun, but during play, there needs to be conversations. Does this feel good? Do you like that? Is that too hard? Is that too soft? Or, the other side saying, do that but harder, do that but softer, more of this, less of that. Because during play, there's a learning curve. And we all have, once again, the fantasy that, kind of get back to the fantasy side, that it's going to be just amazing, and bells are going to ring and the bees and the birds and everybody's going to chirp and it's going to be wonderful. But as you're learning a partner or being learned by a partner, there has to be that communication. And no, I know it's so unsexy, but it does need to happen during play as well as before and afterwards too. So this is an adult lifestyle. And so it's very important to be able to have those hard adult conversations and to realize that some of them are going to kind of take a little of the sexiness out of the sexy things. And it's really just showing your partner that you care by having that communication and doing it that way, even though it might take a little of the shine off things. But we have to learn how to interact and how to effectively please our partner. And you need to have adult communications to do that. So, communication, especially about the intimate things in this lifestyle, is something that's very important to happen not only before play, but during play and after play, so that the next time will be even better. And as you build that familiarity and you build that connection, there doesn't need to be those conversations during play. They can just happen. I always recommend anytime you have lifestyle play, talk about it with your partner after. Even if you've been together 20 years, still have a little discussion about it. So keep the communication going and talk about the things that are not easy to talk about. The last thing that I see happen over and over again in the lifestyle, and this does, once again, typically tend to happen to those who are newer to the lifestyle, but once again, if you look around, you can see people who have been super experienced in the lifestyle make the same mistake. And you meet an awesome person, and you just jump right into the deep end of the pool with them. There is no going slow. It's just everything feels right. And you just jump in with both feet because it's new, it's exciting, and it feels good. And we all love that new partner feeling. I mean, there's something really amazing when you meet somebody, they're amazing, they think you're amazing, you click. But we have to take our brains with us. Um, Everything can feel great, look great, go great, but you still have to work at a pace that's logical and sustainable. Um, the hotter the intensity the fire burns, the faster it's going to burn out. So it's important to be able to get to know a person so you can keep that fire burning and not just have it flame out quickly or jump in because everything seems so awesome and then a couple of months later discover that you're looking for things that are in two opposite directions long term. And while this person has been amazing, they're just not going to be a fit for you. So it takes kind of pacing, the old fashioned notion of dating. I know that seems kind of crazy when we have apps that, supposedly have algorithms that'll match us with the perfect partner and all of this you know, kind of are designed to make us feel like we don't need to invest the time because our app or our text conversations have covered all of that and there's still no substitute for investing time and getting to know a person. And so often people just jump right in, they go off running, and then everything just fizzles out because they haven't taken the time. So I know it can be hard, but it's very important to slow down, take your time, actually go on dates, get to know somebody, and even if things seem awesome, make sure you're hitting the brake pedal and moving at a slow, comfortable pace. And when I say slow, what is slow for one person may be fast for another. But it's all about just taking the time, investing it, and making sure that your brain and your heart are in the right places and those wonderful things called hormones aren't just kind of going haywire and making your heart and brain be overridden by the desires that we all have at times. So just pace yourself with a relationship, run before or walk before you run with it. Yeah, don't. And if you start out running, then you're going to stumble when you try to walk. And so just please, folks, take your time. I know this seems maybe a little bit short. I haven't looked to see how long this podcast has been so far, but those were like the five main points that have been kind of swimming in my head of common mistakes that I see folks make when they're looking at or pursuing lifestyle relationships or even just the lifestyle in general. And I wanted to talk about them because as I look back at myself and my experience, I've made a lot of them. I've had things that I've fantasized about and ideas that when they met reality just weren't the same. I've been overwhelmed at times because it just seems, especially when I came back after being vanilla and things had moved on to the internet and all this information was there, it was just, it was kind of like a mind blowing experience. It was just, I had to step back and take a little bit of a breather. And confidence wise, I've never been the cocky, arrogant person. That's just not me. But I have had moments in my life where my self confidence um, was eroded, and I had confidence struggles. In fact, one of the confidence areas I still struggle with is body image. Uh, so I have some confidence issues, and I bet everybody listening to this has some confidence issue. So educate yourself and not learn to, but work on those issues that cause you to struggle with your confidence because confidence can lead to mistakes. And the best way to do that is to learn. And as you learn, you grow. And as you grow, the confidence builds. I forget who said this, but there's a quote about Anybody who's new to something has always started out sucking at it, and we learn by overcoming our suckiness. And I can't think of anybody that I've ever met that has just like been the perfect dominant or the perfect submissive the instant they jumped into the lifestyle pool, because there's so much to learn. So don't let overconfidence or a struggle with self confidence hold you back. And then remember, this is an adult lifestyle, which means we have to have adult conversations about adult topics, which at times can be very hard, especially talking about some of the things that either are intimate or maybe some of those issues that cause you to have confidence struggles. Those can be very hard to talk about. So potentially, that's that. But remember, communication is key, and there will be topics and subjects that are not easy to talk about, but you have to face, and you do have to talk about them. And the last thing, slow your horses down. Life is not a sprint; it's a marathon, and so don't rush into that partnership. Don't just jump into a relationship because something seems so perfect on the surface. Take the time, explore, and the more you explore, the more you get to know a person, the stronger you're going to actually build the relationship for the long term. So I hope this helps keep some people from making some of the mistakes that I've made in my life, and that everyone who listens is having a wonderful summer and able to enjoy some sun, relaxation, surf if you're near a nice body of water. In fact, I was going to head down and record this at the lighthouse. Packed up the laptop and the microphone and got down there, and it's a beautiful night. So it is packed, and so I didn't think sitting on the beach and talking into a microphone about all things DS would probably be very family friendly. So came back home and enjoying sitting in the air conditioning and recording this. Um, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back into the process of doing this every other week, so it won't be such a gap. And I thank you for giving me a listen, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.